You want to burrow? Oh my god, full on like, you know, the masculine urge to go to the beach and start digging holes? Exact same thing, except like you just like start digging in your backyard and you don't know why.
I want to dig a hole now.
Dude, yeah. Oh my god. Hello and welcome back to Worlds Apart, your favorite bi-weekly world-building podcast, where this is our first recorded episode after things went live. And holy shit, you guys are really nice to us. Oh my god.
Yeah, it greatly received. Things went well.
It's so nice. You guys are so wonderful. I've heard a lot of people saying that it's definitely like a good, easy listening podcast. Have it on the background. I've heard people saying that it's inspiring.
Tradition.
Fuck.
Oh.
I forgot the tradition.
Oh.
I have 2 already opened cans. Shit. Oh no.
But you were saying, yes, the podcast went live, was received well. I interrupted you with cracking the can. Sorry.
Yeah, and you know, Lav, if you could just insert like 3 simultaneous can cracking like sound effects, that would be great. Thank you, Lav. We tip Lav well. Just audience, just so you know.
I'm so sorry, Lav.
Anyway, yeah, and some of you guys have been saying that it like inspires your own world building, which is fantastic. And we're gonna keep that going today because Odie,
yes.
I came up to you and I messaged you right before the podcast with an all caps message saying, "I have the best fucking idea for the next episode. Are you ready?"
Yeah. You called me Odie boy. That was the first.
Odie boy, Odin's son.
I don't know. It reminded me of like an old man, like Odie boy. Actually, it's Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi boy. You haven't seen that.
Yeah, I know the reference.
Okay, good.
Only through like what's it called? Osmosis, by hanging out with you. That's
probably, yeah. But your idea that I'm terrified of, bring it on. What is it? I need to know.
Yes. Oh, you're going to love it. So,
okay.
We are going to kind of step away from the Sundial Mountains range specifically, and in fact, step away from locations in general for a little bit, because as a new nucleus, as a new starting point, I want you to world build me.
Oh, God.
And the audience. And Lav. A disease.
A disease?
Yeah. I want you, collaboratively, you know, with me, live and in person, except pre-recorded, to come up with a disease and talk about maybe... Because diseases are so much fun, right? You have how it transmits from one person to another, its transmission mode, the symptoms that it has, the progression of those symptoms, and then... A lot of people forget diseases have massive fucking impacts on the world. You can have entire like species get culled if they happen to be transmitters of whatever disease it is. You can have quarantines in effect. We had a pandemic. We know what's up. So I feel like it could be some pretty cool source of ideas.
Okay. Well, seeing as it is a collaborative effort, I will take the lead with a question first. Are we talking this is like a pandemic level thing, or is this just like do you want this to be it's kind of like the flu. Like people get sick every now and then.
Ooh. I'd say it could be either. I feel like for the sake of making sure that it has a potential like quest tie-in, we can make it so that it's something that has had a recent outbreak to a pretty severe degree in like a small town somewhere. And then we can kind of go into like potential quest to resolve that or figure out where it's coming from, things like that.
What if it's a reemerged disease?
So like something ancient locked away that has been like...
Yeah. Like you ever seen the movie Piranha?
I have not. I have never seen...
It's a terrible reference.
Oh.
So like this form of piranha were locked away for centuries, and the second they were unlocked, they just wreaked havoc, but apparently they wreaked havoc back in the... It's a whole thing. But anyway, back on actual track.
Cool.
Yeah. It's to me, terrible movie. Overly sexualized. It's funny, stupid.
Gotcha.
Kind of, and gory. But because I was going back through the notes, all our notes of previous episodes, and I forgot that we have a certain, I think it's a 3-month radius of an eclipsed season.
I forgot about that too.
What if it's like a moon sickness or an eclipse sickness?
Yeah. So wait, are you saying it like gets accelerated when there's certain moon cycles?
Yes. Kind of like I guess it could be like a form of lycanthropy, but like a fucking eclipse.
Oh my god.
Eclipse. Eclipsanthropy? I don't know.
Clipsanthropy.
Something like that. But
Take it.
we'll do it. But I don't want to do the classic, like, infection run where, like, you get bitten by a zombie, you turn into a zombie. I don't want to run with that shit. That's played out, it's done, whatever.
It's overplayed. Come on, we're better than that.
We are.
We watch
fucking,
movies like Piranha. We're fucking.
That's what I'm saying. We're worlds apart, dude. But we could run something along the lines of when this season was first introduced to this world, where the eclipse happened for 3 months, and like all those creatures who were like affected by the sun or could finally roam throughout the day because the sun's not there. Maybe when they came out, they had like some kind of disease that is amplified when they're able to roam, and it carried to others.
Okay. So its main transmission mode is night walkers of some variety, vampires and things like that. And sun-sensitive creatures of any kind. So then maybe it just happens to do really well, like whatever this disease is, if it's a bacteria or whatever, in dark environments.
Can we do
maybe
fungal?
It makes you photosensitive.
Oh, okay. How so?
So, like, if you get it, then your eyes, like, very slowly start to really hurt when you're out in direct sunlight. Farmers start to spend more and more time indoors. They become more and more accustomed to darkness and things like that. Like, they want to spend more time in the darkness.
Which would affect the crops because they're not tending to them as much.
Which then causes famine
Food
in whatever area.
Whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay.
What other symptoms would it have?
All right, so we've got eye soreness. If we're going with this photosynthesis vibe, eye soreness, really sensitive skin.
Ooh, okay. Like, as in,
like,
when
you
bruised easy, or like,
when you sunburn and you do that, and then there's just like a mad handprint for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That so like if someone touches you, there's just like a vague outline, as if you're burnt, but your skin's fine. So it could leave like a mark for like 2-3 seconds before it fades, or just and like it's just very kind of like when you're overstimulated. If someone touches you, like that kind of thing.
Oh man, so maybe there's like plague doctors that go around, traveling doctors, and like it seems really weird at first when they start testing people for the disease. They don't tell you what they're doing, but they just come up and they just like grab you and they just like poke you and things like that, and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then the one time someone reacts really badly, they're like, "See."
Yeah. Okay. So sore eyes, super sensitive skin. What other do we want more or like? Because those, I feel like those are like beginning symptoms. So it's like, okay, something's wrong. I need to get on top of this sickness. What are like more?
I feel like when it affects, we can kind of go with a lycanthropy vibe, where when it affects lycanthropes, it kind of makes them super powered almost, or like more like dire lycanthropes and things like that. But when it affects normal humanoids, then it starts to cause maybe a form of insanity.
Like rabies?
Kind of like rape, kind of like ye old rabies, I guess, but less lethal. Because if it was lethal instantly, then it would kind of like drive itself into the ground. And I'm talking like actual disease ecology here, right? The old Plague Inc. vibe. If you make your disease too deadly, then all the forms of transmission die off before they can pass it on to someone else. So it's like, you can't have that happen. So the people need to survive. But maybe they start to go crazy and they start to become more and more insane.
We could, you know animals. You like zoology and whatnot.
That is my whole
What? You've seen that documentary about the ants that get like a fungal infection and then they want to like cordyceps and they just want to climb. What if we went the opposite direction?
You want to burrow? Oh my god, full on like, the masculine urge to go to the beach and start digging holes. Exact same thing, except like you just like start digging in your backyard and you don't know why.
I want to dig a hole now.
Dude, yeah. Oh my god.
But that could be because you mentioned they want to get into darkness. They want to be like away from the light. And in this eclipse, when this thing is amplified for whatever reason we'll come back to because we still haven't figured that out. What if they just want to get away? Like, all because the sun's coming back out in 2.5 months. I have that amount of time to get away.
Mm-hmm. Man, maybe people have a hard time like pinning it down, especially in small villages. They don't have a lot of info on this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they have a hard time like pinning down that the sun is the cause, and so they just like for reasons unfathomable, people just start digging holes. And maybe it's like, oh my god, maybe this village where there's been a sudden outbreak is really close to like a notable cave entrance, and maybe part of like the quest to figure out the source of this disease is that people have to trace it back to the cave, and no one has done it yet. And figured out that that's like the cause. That's where everyone's come out of during the eclipse months.
Okay, so how is it transmitted though? I feel like that's a very important thing we need to cover.
Oh,
Because if it happens during the eclipse times,
maybe you know how things like Lyme disease are spread through tick bites? Do you guys have Lyme disease down there in Australia?
probably. Thankfully, I don't have it personally, but yeah, Lyme disease is worldwide, isn't it?
I have no idea. I don't know diseases.
I don't know sickness.
I don't know Lyme. Never had a Lyme in my life.
Hate limes.
Actually?
Dude, it's bitter.
What?
Not a fan.
What about lemons?
I'd suck a lemon, yeah.
Okay, well. Wait, does that mean you hate like limeade and lemonade?
Love lemonade. What the fuck is limeade?
You guys don't have... You have Lyme disease and you don't have fucking limeade?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Related, but still, Jesus. Okay, we'll get back to this later. Because we're going to talk... I'm going to bring you limeade. But
do it, coward.
So maybe we can make it so that there's some sort of like very small parasite that's carried on the really dense... Like it enjoys dense fur. So maybe, especially furry underground creatures, come up from the caves, and then the parasites wouldn't normally exist in lit environments. But
with that idea, if you're talking about a specific like creature that these parasites attach onto, and there's been a reemergence of this sickness again, we could go the piranha route.
Oh my god!
And have these creatures have been locked away.
Oh no. Oh,
maybe there was an earthquake that shifted a plate where it opened a door, and they're like wandering out.
It's kind of like that whole like mosquitoes, cotton amber sort of thing, where it's like if you resurrect mosquitoes from fucking forever ago, they're gonna have different diseases.
Can we have dinosaurs in this world? Sorry, you just got me thinking about Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Sweet.
Absolutely. We should have a Jurassic Park fucking movie marathon night. Oh my god, I haven't seen them.
Okay, I need you to know, Lav is watching this recording right now and almost just jumped out of her seat. Girl loves her dinosaurs, her Deanosaurs. So, yeah.
So here for it. We could make it so like, oh man. Okay. Cracking in the Earth's crust, shifts in the movement, unearthing creatures that have been underground. So maybe it's like they just haven't had a way to the surface until now. Like there have been caves and cave systems existing for forever, but now some
could have been dormant as well.
Could have been dormant.
Hibernating for centuries. Who knows?
And then, oh gosh. Okay. But if they're dormant.
Yes.
Would it be like an act of the gods, or just like the particular movements in the Earth's crust where they're dormant at that like shook them awake? Or like how, like what's kind of like the root cause?
Well, if we're going to run with this route of some small creature that has parasites on it, or do we just want it to be the parasite itself?
Maybe it starts off when the parasite itself comes off of this dormant creature, but then it spreads to other underground creatures at a really alarming rate. And then those other underground creatures are what make it above ground during the eclipse, because they know that the eclipse exists. The dormant creatures wouldn't know that.
This is true. I don't know if this would count as a disease, more of a possession, but what if the parasite takes control of the host?
Which would make sense. Because then that leads into they attach onto the surface hosts and then force them to do the same old patterns of digging underground. So a mind control sort of like parasite 100% would be, first of all, fucking scary.
Yeah. Is that a disease though? Because I don't want to stray away from your idea.
Oh no, I'm so here for it. Please do. This is so much cooler.
because I see a parasite that kind of looks like a vertebrae. and like scuttles, and when it latches onto its host, it just digs into the vertebrae, so it sort of
Oh,
controls it a little. Is that fucked? Did I go too far?
no, that's great. It's fucked,
Okay.
but it's good. It's like that's horrifying. So, what if it like taps into your spinal cord?
That's what I'm saying. It latches
Oh,
on, so it's got control of all nerves. So it's just like, nah, why am I up here? I want to go back underground, or something like that. Or it's harboring. Or that's why it hibernated for so long. The reason it this could work. So back when these things first came about, they came out. There was a lot of them. They took their hosts, they brought them back down, and they fed for centuries
ooh.
on these hosts. But now they've run out of food. So they need to come and get more.
Oh. So, what does that mean that there's like what if they like latched onto some dinosaur, some massive creature, brought it underground, and then they've just been feeding off of that for forever? So can they latch onto anything? Is it like anything that's not even humanoid?
I mean, it's possible. We could
Like as
have
long as it has
varying
a spinal
sizes
cord?
of this. Yeah, we could have varying sizes of these parasites. These
Oh.
parasites could also be a certain size, and when they latch onto, we'll use the dinosaur, for example, because we're on that topic. If one latches onto a Tyrannosaurus Rex, for example, it doesn't have instant control over it. But the longer it stays attached, the more it grows. And is
Oh,
able
it's like a
to,
tapeworm.
boom. So it's able to,
Oh,
as it grows, it's able to latch onto more nerves and more uh, ways to harbor control of this creature. Because it's kind of fucked up, but I don't think this thing mind controls. I think it just takes control. So you
so
are
you're just
still
like trapped.
so you're still there, and that's why people think you're going insane, because you're screaming, I'm not doing this while you're doing this.
Oh, oh, that is terrifying. I love it so much.
Hmm.
Holy shit. That would be such a good horror encounter, like a horror
Yeah.
one shot. Holy fuck. So people think it's a disease,
Yeah.
and then no one bothers to check like the base of someone's, like spinal cord.
Yeah.
You know. Oh man. So then what would the marking would it actually look like a sort of flat type creature that just lays really well underneath a shirt or something like that? Or is it like, especially if it grows over time, like what does it physically look like? And does it drop off after the host has died so that way like autopsies can't tell that it was there the whole time, but maybe they see like a little bite
Mm,
mark or something
this is a
from where
good
it
question.
was?
Because, like I mentioned, the way I see these creatures, they look like little vertebrae. So, like,
Hmm.
they're long and lanky with, like, points going out on each, like, different shell scaling, I guess.
Hmm.
And, like, each end of the point has, like, a little hook that digs in. Um, so I feel like they might be really fine point needles at each point of the like scale armor. So if you look closely, you see like side by side parallel dots along
Oh.
the back of this creature, of this host, I guess, that's been
Mhm.
taken by this creature. Um, and maybe like a small point at like the base of the neck where it's bitten in to like start draining or whatever.
That is horrifying,
Mm.
by the way.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I kind of love it.
Oh. And so when they drag this creature down into the abyss and bring them back to like the nest for the parasites and start feeding on them, they're still alive, they're still conscious, and they're
Yeah.
just getting fed on.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Because
Terrifying.
if you think about it, if this thing has locked into all your nerves and has control, it could paralyze you.
Hmm.
So if it brings you back down to the nest and just paralyzes you, it just unattaches, and now it's got food.
Oh. Oh. That is so fucked up. That is so cool. Okay.
Um, so whether we want it to stay above the skin, like it's just sort of like laid flat, like you mentioned, into the back of this person,
Mm.
or do we want it to like go under the skin and climb up and latch in? What's
Oh.
what's better?
So going under the skin would be more
fucked.
More fucked and also harder to notice on someone who's acting crazy.
Mhm.
You know, you see them wandering around. You maybe. Oh, what? No, do what you're gonna say.
A symptom could be terrible posture or back pain.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so good.
Mhm.
Okay, this is great. I'm so happy right now. By the way,
These
this horror
things could
shit.
be super sensitive to sunlight, so the longer they're out digging, the more like painful your skin gets. So it sort of travels through.
Amazing. Okay. Does it cause any weird cravings or anything? Because I imagine when you're doing that much physical labor, you're probably just really fucking hungry all the time.
Hmm. Especially if this thing's draining, like feeding itself.
Mm-hmm.
What if this thing's eating the fat off of you as well as you go? Because and that makes you want more carbs and more food. So
Mm-hmm.
what? Maybe just want really like fatty food, like fat meat.
Oh. So, like, the earliest signs of an infestation in the village is like, you know, an unusually high amount of purchases of really unhealthy fatty foods.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
something that
cool.
just yeah, something that just fills you up big time.
And after a while, it just gets grosser and grosser. Like, you're not even eating actual food anymore. You're just chomping down straight sticks of butter
Yeah,
or something.
raw meat,
Um,
you just ripping into it.
yeah. Oh, gosh. That's so cool. This is
So
terrifying.
yeah, so so symptoms we have like painful eyes, or sore eyes in the sunlight, skin sensitivity, if you're out in the sun too long.
Mhm.
What else do we have? Back pain or like poor posture,
Yeah.
famine, I guess, or just feeling famished.
Mhm.
Have I missed anything?
Capacity to dig for a long fucking time in the middle of the
Mm.
night. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And then the only way you would notice after the fact doing an autopsy is the little pinprick type like latching points,
Mhm.
which begs the question, what if there is some sort of underground species of humanoids or creatures that have managed to harness these parasites and use them to, you know how there's that old trope of like an invincible warrior who's only invincible because it can't feel pain?
Yes.
What if you have a like species of creature that has a warrior caste or like a warrior subsect of their society
Mhm.
that has like their armor is built around the spine? It leaves a gap in the spine so you can attach and detach these creatures at will. And when you attach them, you no longer feel pain, but you've somehow managed to control them so you haven't lost control, but you still don't have like the feeling.
Ooh. Okay. So they're kind of
Almost like genetically engineered or like a specific subset of this parasite has been bred for ultimate, I don't know, like as a really cool like fucking spine decal that happens to have awesome abilities.
you pull it off your spine and it turns into your sword. That would be insane. Like, um. Okay. So give me a little bit more information on that because I think I'm getting you a picture, but I'm not 100% there with you right now. So
Yeah. So these creatures can tap into your spinal cord
yes.
and they can make it so that they control all your musculature and they're tapped into your nervous system. It's possible to breed a subsect of these parasites that instead of tapping into the entirety of your nervous system and having full control, it just cuts off and maybe absorbs any pain signals specifically, and it's like limited to that. So then a warrior can
Oh.
come up, take these creatures like as if they were a pet, but it's probably against the creature's will, attach them to their spine, um, and then go into battle being unable to feel pain, which makes them, in a sense, better warriors, but also more self destructive because they don't know when to stop fighting.
Oh. Okay.
And you can tell that they're coming because not only do they have those creatures like on their spines and you can visibly see them, but uh, their armor, the rest of the armor that covers the rest of their bodies, has specifically like a gap in it where the spine is, so that way they can reach around and attach or detach the creatures, which also
Oh.
becomes a potential like attack point, like a weak point. Like if someone has a very well aimed arrow and they manage to hit the spine of whoever they're attacking and it hits this parasite, then the parasite dies, falls off, whatever. And then the warrior just starts screaming because all of a sudden all these wounds that they've taken on throughout the course of the battle kicks in. and they realize how much damage they've sustained and how in pain they are.
They could then become vulnerable to damage.
Yeah. Suddenly it's like not just it's normal damage, but it's like the psychological effects of battle start to kick in. They're not immune to it anymore, and that could be in a way so much worse.
Yeah, which could give them, like, for a mechanic explanation, if you hit their spine or like kill the parasite on them, because they could have two different HPs, which would be a really cool thing to give to an encounter. For a mechanic side, if that parasite dies, he then gets disadvantage on attacks.
Yeah, because they haven't been this entire like warrior sect has been trained around the fact that they've always had those parasites to rely on, and they weren't trained on how to deal with actual battle.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do these hosts, I guess, do they live underground with these creatures? Are they loyal to these creatures, or is it more of a like, I'm more powerful with this thing and I want it?
I don't know. I feel like it would make the most sense to have them also be living underground.
Okay.
Because, like, maybe
Sun.
otherwise they still have the same sensitivity. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe they use it for medicine too, or maybe a practical application. Once you find out that these like people exist and that this subbreed of parasites exist, is you can use them to numb pain. It's like an automatic anesthetic.
It's like medicine. A high, in a sense.
A little bit, yeah. You become super sensitive to sunlight. You want to dig all the time, so it's like really hard to keep people in the hospital beds. But like at the same time, it doesn't cause any pain. You do amputations with it on, you know.
This would be a really interesting thing to write in like Call of Cthulhu or something like that.
It's giving a lot of like Lovecraftian horror type vibes.
Ooh. What have we made? This is this is dangerous. This could fit into so many different things. Okay. So we have the parasite stuff. We have, what would you call them? Would you call them hosts, I guess? Those warriors?
So. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any more elements we want to add to these creatures? Is there like a queen? Are there... Is there like a monarchy? Do these things eat each other if there's no food? Like, what's the vibe?
I feel like, as opposed to being the sort of thing where normally hive creatures have like a designated queen and it's biologically different, maybe it's just whichever one happens to be the biggest. So like whichever one brought that T-Rex down into the hive.
King shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then if another one happens to bring a bigger piece of meat back home, that does, that takes over.
I just had a terrifying thought.
Yeah, hit me.
So certain things taken by these creatures turn into that like invulnerable, I feel no pain. Mm-hmm. What if one took a dragon?
What if someone plants one on a dragon?
Uh-huh.
Oh, shit. So you have, like, an invulnerable fucking dragon and rider just... this thing is powerful, dude.
This thing's fucked. No wonder it's probably a good thing it went away for a while.
Yeah. Holy shit. And that's the thing is, like, the only reason it hasn't taken over the world is because they're content as long as they have food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They're just surviving. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, God. There's so many wild fucking applications.
Mm-hmm.
And once the party finds out that these things exist and they see the potential uses, then that could shape an entire fucking world if they decide to, like, either kill off these parasites so that way you don't have all these, like, almost like addictions to the parasite. You don't have all these issues with, like, invulnerable fighters. You don't have issues with potentially it coming into the wrong hands. Or maybe they decide to bring it to the surface and use it for medicine and, for their own benefit. So that could, oh my God. What a great, like, choose your own adventure type, like, world-shaping type fucking decision.
Have you... Because when it comes to the, like, the invulnerable warrior that you've made, like, the one that feels no pain, have you seen the movie Bird Box or heard of it at all?
You gotta stop asking me if I've seen
Well, that's fine. No, it's fine. I don't mind. This is just kind of like so I can sort of relate and get a better feel for what you're saying. Because in Bird Box, like, there's this, I guess, plague or sickness or entity, if you will, that is invisible, but if you look at it or if it sees you, it takes over and you want to end things, to put simply. But some people fell in love with it and worshipped it and, like, try to kill others because that's what this thing wanted. It wanted death. And we must serve and go on and do these things. So are certain warriors that are invulnerable kind of like, this thing saved me. And you need to know what it's like.
Oh, shit. That could be so cool.
Yeah.
So they're like almost trying to convert. Would they be kind of working against the interests of the rest of their society, though? Or would this be like a small fractured part of their
I mean,
warriors?
If you want to make a BBG?
Yes. Yes.
What if there was one who got turned and like got the invulnerability and then he lost it? Like someone killed the one on his back and it destroyed him because he loved this creature and he was devoted and felt strong and powerful. And now, and when like people were like, are you okay? And he was mad, they didn't understand. So now he wants them to understand.
Oh, that is cool. So at that point, why wouldn't he just get another one? Is it because
He did.
Oh, I see.
But like what I'm saying is he wants others to know what it's like.
So he felt the high and then the crash and then, oh shit. That's so cool.
This isn't him like, I want to take over the world. This isn't him like, I want to destroy everything. This is, I want you to join me and feel the joy.
I'm going to open your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't understand what's at our fingertips and you're ignoring it. Why? Like that kind of insanity, if you will.
Oh, I love that. And maybe the rest of his clan is pretty content with living underground. Like the Parasites, the ones that aren't affiliated with that clan can go do whatever they want, you know. They aren't all under control. But the rest of his clan are like, hey, the surface world isn't for us inherently. Like it's fucking, just leave them alone, leave them to their sun person things. We'll do our thing down here. Except during the eclipse months, you know, we'll go out every now and then,
we'll
have
get
some fun,
food.
do some raiding, do some pillaging. And then this guy's like, no, we need to take over. We need to show them what they're missing down here. Everyone's like, just leave them alone. Oh, this is so cool.
Can he talk to these creatures?
Maybe he's developed the ability to, or maybe he sought out the ability to when no one else cared to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Because maybe the creature on his back and him have formed such a bond they can communicate, and this creature talks through him.
Oh, so it's like
this
a
parasite.
Symbiosis?
Kind of. Cool. Like, parasites evolve and adapt, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? So what if these two have been connected for so long, and this thing has kept him alive for so long that they've formed this connection? Is it that in... Sorry to bring it back to Heliana's. Isn't there a parasite class?
Oh yeah, like a symbiotic parasite class. If it's not in Heliana's, then it's in one of Margot Maud's games books for sure. One of those things where you can have. By the way, audience, at the time of recording, Odin and I both just got copies of Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. Not sponsored, by the way. It's just fucking cool. And so,
the best.
So fucking sick. Odin got his entire like Kickstarter level fulfillment package of there you go for our video listeners.
It's my entire personality for the next 3 weeks. I'm sorry.
It's been great. This is my legacy as an influencer, is specifically influencing Odin to spend obscene amounts of money on stuff, including shipping to Australia.
That shit hurts, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's so expensive. Worth it though. Let me carry on. I will try and find this thing.
We can also cut this part.
No.
Okay,
we'll do it live.
Great. Fuck. Shit. I gotta pull out a fucking type 5 while you flip through a book. The book is the size of a fucking, like, dictionary.
It has an index. I'm on the page.
The book is so big that it is listed
pages?
as a bludgeoning weapon inside the book itself. Like, it has gone meta.
She thickums. But yeah, so if we wanted to run the more fungal kind of connection with the parasite or whatever we want to run it with, Heliana specifically has a parasite warlock. So,
ooh, a warlock is so good.
Yeah. So this parasite could have adapted over time. It could have become sentient of its own thing. It's a parasitic weapon. Your patron can manifest on and protrude from your body in the form of a parasitic weapon.
Oh, so he actually grabs his slime
could pull it
and
off.
turns it into a sword. What the fuck?
Because
that'd be so cool.
If we wanted to run with that, like if he pulls it off, because since it's disconnected from him, it could latch onto his arm, so it's still connected in a sense. So it just sort of becomes like a fucking extension of himself.
And it's much harder to hit.
Yeah.
Oh shit! And then maybe he can. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna, if it's removed, maybe since it's so evolved, it has like a harder shell, so its AC it like hardens itself as it disconnects from his back and gets a higher AC or something.
Oh god, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So he's just, oh my god, and this man would be fucking feral at this rate. If he's had a parasite on him for that long, he's just munching raw meat all the time, like straight up goes for fat sources on creatures more than anything else.
I feel like he would be withered as well. Like he's just skin and bone, but he hits hard.
God, maybe he's like experimented with it too. So like he found out if he eats certain things or certain like creatures, fat sources, or certain, I don't know, just like materials from different things that he kills.
Yeah.
Then he gains new abilities, perhaps, becomes a little bit stronger, a little bit faster through the parasite.
Okay.
Which would then lend to him being like special.
So if he eats like a rock, like an earth elemental, for example, just for I know that has no fat on it, it's rock, whatever. But if he ate something off an earth elemental, he'd get like a buff to his armor class or something like that.
Yeah. Or like if he munched on, oh my gosh, what's a good example? if he munched on like a fat source from like a super speedy creature that naturally has a lot of basically like yield adrenaline in it, or maybe like some sort of hormonal type trigger or something that kind of works its way into the parasite, and then the parasite's like, oh, I know what to do with this, and then you just feel empowered. Is this a metaphor for drug use? Have we just made one really big metaphor for drug use? Fuck.
A little bit.
It's okay. We love metaphors.
I was just thinking, because you remember, like, I think it was 2 recordings ago, when we made a creature that has blubber.
Yeah.
That turns you into like something else.
Fucking rage. Yeah.
What if he eats that?
Shit. Oh my god, maybe if that's one of his sub plans as a BBG right now. So maybe this village that he's currently taking over, or that the cave entrance to his domain exists near, is relatively like on the outside of the Sundial Mountains, and so he's waiting for the eclipse season so he can head to our lovely little town of Crossroads and get a hold of some of that fat by commissioning the Poachers Guild.
Would he need to? Or would he just go get it?
He'd have to wait till the eclipse season to get it himself. But he could. Getting into the Sundial Mountain Range is something he of all people could probably do without worrying about all the like fucking red tape.
I mean, would he have a burrow speed?
He does! He does, because then he would be so imbued with this creature that so naturally wants to dig. Oh my god, can you imagine his hands, like, over time being, like, maybe he files down his nails in a certain way, or, like, fucking strengthens them specifically so he can dig faster. Oh, and they're just, like, black and flattened and, like, almost
calloused
look like miniature shovels and incredibly calloused. Oh, shit. This is so cool.
This was meant to be a disease.
Yeah, they think it's a disease. And we made a threat to the nation.
We made a threat to the fucking world, dude. Like, okay. So we mentioned at the beginning that possibly this thing went dormant for a while. Mm-hmm. Was he taken? Like when the first wave of these creatures came, and when they got their food source and he went back with them. Yeah. Has he just been dormant with this creature bonding with it for however long? So when he came back to the surface, depending on how many months, years, centuries, whatever it's been, he wouldn't know about a lot of things.
So that would mean that he has a really unnaturally long lifespan then. And so he's popped up to the surface. He maybe tries to return to, maybe he was an adventurer before
Hmm.
or some sort of doctor. And that's how he
He was treating
managed to, like,
patients,
he was treating patients.
and he found it
Oh,
fascinating that they couldn't feel pain,
uh-huh.
and one just latched onto him. Or maybe he removed one, and while he was looking at it,
It
it
like
jumped onto him.
skittered around his arm off
Yeah.
his back. Oh, that'd be terrifying. Holy fuck. Uh, okay. Okay, and so then he was caught by it. He had the same quote unquote disease progression. Itchy
Yep.
eyes, started digging, started eating a lot. Then the him and everyone else who was affected by this disease went back underground while
Hmm.
the rest of the colony munched on a T-Rex. So he would have just been living with them. They wouldn't have had interest in eating him. So he was kept alive long enough to potentially figure out a way to manipulate this creature back. Or maybe he had some sort of magical ability that allowed him to gain like mind control over it and then slowly kind of like almost subdued it, like tamed it into not so he could get control of his body back.
If we want to run the warlock,
Warlock?
the
Yeah.
warlock path, he could have made it deal with it.
Yes. Yeah. He was the first of his kind.
Like this
Oh
thing was like, I
shit.
will keep you alive and give you strength if you feed me.
Uh-huh. Oh, this is
And
sick.
dude was terrified and just wanted to survive, and then said yes. And over the however long, since like we mentioned, he would have gone feral because he's been with the symptom of eternal hunger as well, because he just wants food,
Like
and he's
Wendigo
become
vibes.
yeah, and he's become withered, and he's like skin and bone, and this thing has given him, since this thing's been feeding for so long and has been attached to the one thing, maybe it's just become a part of him. Ugh.
But then it died. And then he had that crash and
Uh-huh.
found another one and did the same thing. Huh. So then how does that tie in with the village of these warriors that are like him but not quite like him? Like would they just exist separately and have existed separately for longer than he's been around and he knows about them but was never one of them, or did he like start their society and then decide they weren't going far enough but then he was ousted because they were like what the fuck dude, like really it's too much.
I feel like you're like the village of warriors underground, that feel no pain is absolutely a thing. When it comes to him, I think he either left because none of these guys wanted to grow
Like
stronger, I
content.
guess,
Yeah.
or he just went feral, and these things are like, get the fuck out,
Mm-hmm.
freak. Like,
Mm-hmm. Like he went a little bit off the deep end and now he's hail. Oh my god, so maybe he's hailed as like their boogeyman, like full on like this guy went off the deep end. And
yeah,
so maybe as part of like this whole quest line, right, thinking about it, if a party of adventurers comes into this village, they start to hear about, during the eclipse months or following the eclipse months, this new disease popping up. They start to see all these symptoms. They do an autopsy. They see like the little spine pokes. They eventually maybe at night do a stakeout and watch someone start to dig, and then they start to put it together that whatever they're looking for is underground. They come across this village of basically borderline unkillable feel no pain warriors, and then if they stop long enough to talk to them, they're like, hey, we don't want to like take over the surface world or anything, but come, we'll show you what we're about. We just want to, we're just trying to exist. We'll help you understand if you leave us alone.
Mhm.
The warriors bring them back to their home base. They start to see all these people with these spine creatures wandering around, and then they see like murals everywhere of like some horrifying centuries old type humanoid who has intimate knowledge of this same spine creature, but that is functionally like has gone too far, went off the deep end, and is now they're Alduin, they're
yeah.
fucking oh. And then so the party has to be not murder hobo-y enough to figure out the actual problem is somewhere else.
It'll be an interesting moral quandary because these warriors are still taking innocent people so these creatures can feed.
True, yeah. So they're not 100% good, but they're not like the worst evil.
Yeah.
And they're
Because
just trying to exist.
that's exactly it. This is just survival.
Hmm.
Like, we take what we can get, and we're not specifically hunting humans. We just want food.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Like the basic parasite nest might still be, but like we're trying
Oh
to
yeah.
tame them a little bit. We're trying to reel them in. Um, like they're not one of us, not really. I know it looks bad, but like,
Yeah.
oh god, this is so cool. I
Yeah.
love this so much.
So yeah, so if the parasites themselves, if it's just a colony of the parasites that don't have a host, if these things are just taking things, pulling off and eating, that's just the parasite. When it comes to having like a sentient being, being like, yeah, we're connected to these things and we're just trying to eat. That's more. That's more the moral quandary of like, are they just trying to survive because they're not specifically hunting humans, but the parasites, when it's just parasites, they're just taking what they can get and killing, which
Mhm.
could be an issue. And if they're choosing a city to attack to get food, yeah, we're gonna have to take them out. So, and
Oh,
then there's your boogeyman,
then there's the boogeyman.
Doctor
Does he
Boogeyman.
have? He probably has like at least a handful of other followers still, who have like kind of
I
been like,
mean, I feel like that would be over the centuries of him being like, join me, come, come. Yes, I feel
yeah,
like a few select of these warriors would have been like seen his power and how well he's adapted to this thing and been like, yeah, I want that.
maybe it's something that's like especially appealing to people who have that really long lifespan. So maybe it's like his lifespan and his connection being sustained over that long of a time is part of the reason he's so successful. So elves in traditional D&D sense and like other creatures that live centuries would have a better chance at taking on this pact. So maybe it's almost like species locked. In the same way that like the berserker dwarf was back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Um, or maybe someone could who's like an adventurer could potentially kind of reverse engineer after killing him or after finding his home base, finding out his notes, figuring out what he did over the centuries, could potentially take on this pact of the parasite as a warlock or, follow in their footsteps in hopes of doing it better. And so once you find this guy, then it becomes like a new class unlock.
Jesus. That's
Or maybe
terrifying.
you can make a deal with this parasite.
To leave him and join me, kind of thing.
If the guy is at the brink of death, right, and the parasite's host is like borderline dead, if they haven't killed the parasite already because it has its own HP pool and its own AC and things
Yeah.
like that, if they choose to leave it alive, maybe they can make a deal with it. And it's almost like a different kind of loot off of his body.
Oh my god. So, all right. With that, what's the parasite's goal then?
I feel like it would be to survive and find the strongest host possible. And beyond that, it still has like the base instincts, especially without a host. It just goes back to its usual, like, I just want to,
I'm hungry.
like, my base instinct is I just want to eat. Could
Yeah.
use some more T-Rex steak right now, but like
Ooh.
beyond that. And then over time, maybe it gets back its confidence and maybe it starts to manipulate its host a little bit more and try and be like, hey, this isn't like how we did it. Like, my old host was way better. Like, we did this and this and this.
Okay.
So it's still a little intelligent of its own
Yeah.
and all that.
I feel like we'd have to figure something. If it was going to be like a warlock creature, we'd have to figure out something that's more than just like, I'm hungry.
Mhm.
Kind of.
Something that's like maybe it sapped part of its or it like learned from its host over the centuries and so maybe it has developed the same motivations but it's smart enough to know not to reveal that right off the bat.
Right.
So maybe if you don't find out about the fact that the boogeyman wants to go into the Sundial Mountains and find this fat, maybe it starts to gently prod you into taking on those sorts of quests and you know like it leads you down that same route because it knows that's what its old host wanted and it wants to see what will happen.
Okay. That could work. The
So it's
fact
almost like encouraging experimentation on itself.
it's just wanting to continually grow and evolve
Yeah.
and change,
Mm-hmm.
whether for good or bad, it doesn't care.
Yeah. Yup.
So this thing's just survival.
True neutral. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I want to get stronger, and if bad things happen to others, not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I survived. Like,
Do Do you think it has any particular feelings towards like the OG parasites then? Like the ones that are still attacking villages? Do you think it just like looks down on them? Do you think it tries to convert them the same way that like this boogeyman tried to convert the rest of its village?
I feel like it might have just been like, I've outgrown this.
Oh, it just like doesn't even give a shit
It's
anymore. It's like these fucking children.
yeah,
Ah.
they're pathetic. I'm the alpha.
Yeah. I'm bigger. I'm
I'm
stronger.
stronger. I'm smarter. I'm stronger. I'm better. I am better.
At the same time, though, what if it runs into the alpha, like the Tyrannosaurus size one of the village? Do you think it would have some respect towards it, or would it still be like, okay, I see you, you still suck, but like I can appreciate the size?
I think I might fear it a little bit.
Really? Oh.
Because what if when this thing was first getting stuck, that could have been the reason it got kicked out of the village? It tried to form a coup on this alpha and got its shit rocked.
Uh-huh.
And that's when
And
the
then
first
it
one
left
died.
and took its host with it. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh! Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Because do we want these things, like, if they attach you, do they have access to everything?
I think they would gain more and more access. They would like worm their way in as
Okay.
the disease progressed, as the host progressed.
Okay. So, if this boogeyman, is what we'll call him for now, had this host and they were like, we're gonna become stronger and take over and be the alpha, got his shit rocked. As he was dying, maybe another parasite latched on just to eat and then saw everything
Ooh.
and was like, oh, potential.
Like I could do this. Okay.
I could do it better.
I love this so much.
Yeah?
Holy fuck. This might be my favorite episode we've recorded yet because it's
Yeah?
so complete. Like we made a one shot. I hope you know this. Like potentially a 2 or 3 shot just in the course of this hour.
This
is
could be a whole
amazing.
BBG arc, dude, honestly.
Yeah, because there's so many people at play. The only thing we haven't touched on is like the base village up on the surface, but also it could just be a basic village that has nothing else notable
Yeah.
going on.
Could be an unmarked location on the map.
Yeah, that just happens to have a cave nearby, you
Yeah.
know, and like, oh, that's so cool. I love this so much. Shit. Okay. That's fucking terrifying, by the way. Should we name anything or do we just want to not? 'Cause I know we're bad at it.
I will give us 30 seconds to
Oh,
try and
fuck.
figure out a name for this parasite-esque creature. So get
Okay.
up all your documents that you want to get up all the things. What this creature looks like is kind of like a vertebrae. It's long and spindly, has hooks at each end of pointed scales, and I'm assuming like a small mouth that has a pin prick in it to get into the base of the neck.
Oh god, that'd be terrifying. Like
Yeah.
like a little like proboscis, but it's like a needle.
Like, you know.
Oh.
I'm assuming it will have that like bony white color texture to it, just so it blends in a bit better.
Mhm.
So you have 30 seconds in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay.
What's this creature called?
So here's the thing. Here's my process. Chat. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the thoughts. When it comes to parasites, something that is very common is a name of a parasite ends in ODE, like trematodes or cestodes. Cestoda is I'm going back to Latin, I'm so sorry, is like the base class of parasitic worms, specifically. Looking up the concept of a brain and like the nervous system in Latin, same vibe, cerebrum is a pretty solid start. So if we call it a cerebrode, potentially, well, cerebrode kind of sounds like bro code, but
Bruh.
or if we look up maybe the term for spine,
Maybe a cerebod?
a cerebod, a
'Cause then you have,
spinode,
like, a what?
spinode,
Spinode.
spinode, spinode.
Spinode.
Too
Not bad.
obvious.
Well, ooh. What about like vertebrae? Can we put
Ooh, a vertebrode? No, wait, hold on. Vertebrae.
because this thing literally latches to the vertebrae.
Yeah. I will also say vertere is the Latin word that vertebra comes from. Vertere also translates to, like, literally to turn.
A vertier?
A vertier. I like that. Or a vertode. Nah, vertode sounds like a frog.
Vertode sounds like a frog.
Vertier.
Vertier kind of
that's a
sits
fucking
really
solid.
well.
I like that. Let's go with that. The vertier species of fucking parasites. The vertier army.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Oh, amazing. Cool.
So then the warriors would be like Verterians, if you will.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Verterians. Oh my god. That's so cool. The
There you
Verterian
go.
army. The Verterian captain. Those are such good, like, stat block names. I love that.
We did it.
We
Look
did
at us
it.
go.
We made something.
We did it!
Holy shit. Fucking
Dude, we're getting better at
amazing.
this.
We're so good at this.
This is why we're your favorite bi-weekly world building podcast, just so you know. Worlds Apart. Which is exactly where you can find us at Worlds Apart TTRPG on
Seamless
all
transition.
platforms. I know I'm good at this shit. On all platforms, YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. Diana, where can they find you?
Hi, I'm Diana Faye, also known as Diana the Rose. I am on, oh my god, literally everything. YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. I think I said YouTube. I'm on Twitch as well. And yeah, I am a tabletop gaming content creator, world builder, podcast host, model, actual play performer, live play performer. Oh my god, panelist, content creator, consultant, streamer, long form and short form are both covered on my channels. Either way, you can find me absolutely everywhere as at Diana the Rose. And then also, special shout out to our editor. You want to take it away, Odie?
Yes. So we're going to give a loving shout out to our amazing editor at entity__edits, aka Lavendor. You can find entity__edits on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. Lav does all our editing. She also does long and short form content. If you're looking for a commission, you can reach out to her, see if she has time and slots available. If you take her from us, we're going to have an issue.
Yeah, she's a dream to work with. Do not listen. We do not take that lightly. I've worked with a lot of editors. Lav is fucking fantastic.
We put her
Fucking
through
amazing.
hell as well.
And we abuse the shit out of her on a loving level. I'm so sorry, Lav. And then also, last but not least, our artist for Worlds Apart, the person who created our logo, is Toby.exe. That is at Toby, DOTEXE on TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube. And also on Instagram, same thing, but surrounded by underscores. That is at _Toby.exe_ over on Instagram. Highly recommend. I've commissioned Toby so many. Toby has taken an inordinate number of my paychecks. He is so fucking good
Same.
at what he does.
It's
Great award
ridiculous.
nominated artist. Oh my god,
He's
fantastic.
just too good. You can also find me at Odinn_Sun on pretty much all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. You can find me at officially Odie, on Twitch.
I totally
if you,
forgot about you, by the way.
I know.
I
You
was
forgot
like,
about
last
me.
but not
It's-
least.
it's
this
fine.
is least, actually.
Don't worry about it.
The...
But you can find me on those platforms at officially_Odie on Twitch and Odinn_Sun on pretty much everything else. If you're interested in D&D content, if you're interested in world building, if you're interested in Pokemon, voice acting, all that kind of stuff, that's where you can find me. Diana, this was a lot of fun. We did good, dude.
Great.
We
We did
did
fucking
good.
fantastic.
We
We started
created-
a disease, and we were like, you know what? We're gonna have an entire arc
Oh,
in an hour.
the flu. That's the disease. That's in our world.
Yeah, we made the fucking, it's the stomach flu. You vomit for a couple days and then you're good.
Yeah, that's in our
You're
world.
welcome, audience.
There's the disease, and you have a parasite too. All right.
Thank you so
We
much.
will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.